Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, teacher. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Thank you. How is everything? How many students do we have now? 8. Okay. Okay, so we are going to start our class. Theoretical linguistics, number 1. This is the first level of the theoretical linguistic courses, and we are going to have 2 levels of this class. Okay. I know some people in this class because they have had class with me before, but I don't know others in here, right? For example, Jorge Nicolas. Jorge Nicolas, where are you from?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. I'm from Colombia.
Yeah, okay.
I was born here.
But where?
Yeah, so, Bogota.
Okay, right. Good.
Yeah, I'm from Bogota.
Okay, thank you. What do you do?
I'm currently working as an English teacher in a school outside called Funza. I'm relatively new to this job. Basically, I've been working there for like 2 years now. I have my background is in sports. I did a degree in New Zealand for sports and education with little children.
Okay.
And yeah, that's basically my background. So I came back 2 years ago to Colombia, and I've been working as an English teacher ever since. So,
which grades do you work with?
I work with at the moment they have me working with preschool and years 3, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So
okay,
it's basically all primary.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Great, Jorge. So Luis Felipe, where are you from? You have to open the microphone, Luis.
Thank you. Okay, I am from Bogota and I live in Bogota too.
What do you do?
I am an English teacher in a high school institution in Divino Salvador High School.
No, okay, that's good. How long have you been teaching?
I have been teaching around 13 years ago. I started teaching, but really I have been learning all the time because my own learning. I study by myself. I study a few months in the United States, but I study in many different places trying to improve my English. And 3 years ago, I have been working with Divino Salvador School. Before I studied with a public school in Colegio Distrital La Giralda. And before with another school in is La Salle. But before I worked with CIDE, Canapro, at the university, for around 4 years.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you, Luis Felipe. Christian. So where are you from, Christian? Hello.
Well, I'm from, yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, I'm from Medellin, but I lived for more than 25 years in the States. I've been teaching for more than 25 years now. Now I'm currently working in one of the best schools here in Bogota, that is GCB, Gimnasio Colombo Británico in Guaymaral.
Yeah.
I'm now currently working in primary, 4th grade. I love it. I prefer for primary than high school, and that's about it. And I'm very happy to be in the course with all my classmates.
Okay, that's good. Very good. Monica, I know that we have had class before, but could you please remind me where are you from?
Where are you from? In Bogota.
Good. What do you do?
But I live in Bogota, but soon I will live in Tocancipá.
Okay. And what do you do?
I am a preschool teacher.
Preschool. Okay.
Yes.
So do you
babies,
teach
only babies.
Do you teach English there?
What?
Do you teach English in the preschool?
No,
No,
Spanish. Only
just Spanish.
Spanish.
Okay, great.
I don't speak English yet.
But you are doing it.
Yes.
Okay, good. Giovanni, I know that we have had class as well, but could you please remind me something about you? Giovanni.
Well, first of all, I am Hello. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I am originally from Cartagena, but I've been living in Bogota for 28 years. In other words, I am Rolo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, my experience is in security. All my life, I've been working security for 16 years as a security coordinator and security boss. But I really love English, so I learning English because I want to be an English teacher.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, thank you, Giovanni. We had a class
Okay.
together, but I don't remember which one.
Last semester.
Last semester? Yeah, okay.
Yes, but in Spanish, not in English.
Okay, yes, estudios del lenguaje.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
right. Okay, good.
Okay.
So, thank you, man. Magda,
Okay.
Magda Rocio. Hello. How are you?
Hello, teacher.
Where are you from, Magda?
I'm from to Purificación, Tolima. I live here in Bogota.
And what do you do?
I'm teacher of preschool in a public school.
Okay. And that's it? Okay, thank you, Magda. Carol, I know that we were together as well last semester, right?
Yes, teacher.
Where are you from?
I'm from Bogota.
Okay, and what do you do?
I am a medicine student in 5th semester.
So you are studying 2 majors at the same time?
Yes, teacher. I study.
You are very brave, actually. Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, good. Thank you, Carol. Jasmine.
Hi, teacher.
Hi. We were together as well last semester. So, what do you do, Jasmine?
I am a preschool teacher.
Okay. Do you teach English in
Only
preschool?
children. What? No?
Do you teach English in the preschool?
No. Garden, only garden.
Okay.
Kindergarten, nursery, transition. No, not English.
Okay, right. Good. Thank you, Jasmine. Ivan.
Okay.
Ivan. Hello, Ivan. Ivan Darío. Ivan Darío, are you there? Okay, Ivan Darío. Okay. Let's continue with Julian. Julian, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Julian. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Very, very good. Julian, where are you from and what do you do?
I am from Medellin.
Really?
Yeah.
Hello,
Okay.
hello.
Yes, Ivan, I can listen, but give me a second.
Sorry.
And what do you do, Julian?
What?
I am a student.
Only studying?
Yeah.
You only study?
In the UPV here.
Where? Sorry?
In the UPV University and here.
Pontificia Bolivariana. What do you study in the Pontificia Bolivariana?
Chemical engineering.
Okay, another brave man with 2 majors at the same time. Okay, very good. So, Ivan, can you listen? Or can you speak?
Yes, I can listen to you.
Okay, Ivan, where are you from?
I'm from Santander de Crichao.
Okay, that's good. And do you live there?
Yeah, I born here and I live here since 33 years ago.
Okay.
This is near to Cali, 45 minutes south of Cali.
Okay.
Here
And
is
what do you?
Cauca, but
Okay,
Cali, Valle del Cauca is different.
it's different. Okay, and what do you do?
I teach English.
Okay, which level?
Nowadays I'm working in a high school, but a high school like a fast high school. I don't know how to say that. When you go and you have a year in 3 months or something like that.
Ah, okay, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
I have been teaching English since 2011.
Okay, good. So you have long experience.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we are going to continue. Patricia. Patricia, how are you, Patricia? Patricia, can you listen? Patricia. Okay, we have problems with Patricia. Then we have Luisa Fernanda. Luisa Fernanda, can you listen to me? Luisa. Luisa Fernanda. Okay, another one. Jasmine. Jasmine, are you there?
Again, teacher.
Again, sorry. the problem is that I have Giovanni's screen, so I don't know. It confused me. But okay. Maria Fernanda Gutierrez, are you there? Maria
I am.
Fernanda.
Can you?
Yes, barely. Maria Fernanda, where are you from?
I'm from here, from Colombia.
Okay, from Colombia, but where?
Bogota, exactly.
Okay. What do you do, Maria Fernanda?
I'm a self-contained teacher in 4th grade. I don't know if you know the term or if you're familiar with the term for self-contained.
Again, we couldn't listen very well.
I am a self-contained teacher in 4th grade. I don't know if you're familiar with the term.
No, I am not familiar with that term.
That's when you are the homeroom teacher and the teacher of the 4 bilingual subjects. That's science, socials, math, and English.
Okay, very
I'm
good.
teaching 4th grade at this moment.
Okay, that's good, great. Okay, thank you everybody. I don't know if someone is missing because I cannot see any other person here. Why did I do this? Luisa Fernanda, you are there.
Don't you remember? Okay,
Yeah.
teacher. I'm from Bogota.
Yeah.
I work in a call center as QA. I'm also teacher. No, I don't teach yet, but I hope teach soon.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so that's a very good plan. Okay, so maybe you are asking why I am doing this. In first place, because I want to be sure that you are connected correctly and you can speak. Because in my class, as some of you have experienced, I like to interact with everybody, right? I ask questions and I like listening to people, and participation for me is very important. Okay, for all of you, my name is Jairo Castañeda. I am going to be the English teacher here. I have a BA in Spanish and English from Universidad Pedagógica Nacional, a master's degree in Externado de Colombia, and currently I am in the middle of the process of having my PhD, right? Yeah, at Distrital University. I have been working for San Buenaventura since 2012 in the virtual program, but in other programs since 2009. So I hope you like this subject. So we are going to start with the subject right now. Theoretical linguistics, number 1, has an emphasis or a special emphasis on 3 aspects of linguistics that are syntax, morphology, and phonetics. Those are the 3 things that we are going to study here. but we are going to start with some regulations of the class, okay? So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to see some things here that are the regulations of the class. So let me know if you can see the presentation. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Right, so these are the general suggestions and recommendations for this class. There are not many, because as you know, if you have taken class with me, I am not that, like, how can I say this, like strict with some things. But anyway, this theoretical linguistics class started last February the 4th. So that means that this is the second week of the class. And it will finish on April the 7th, okay? So we have to discuss something about that, but we are going to have virtual encounters every single week. The encounters are going to be held on Mondays from 8 to 10. I don't know if we are going to take the 2 hours. Sometimes we are going to do that. Sometimes we are not going to do that. But mostly we are going to spend those. You have to be available those 2 hours for attending the class. You know that the class is, or the attendance to the class, this virtual class, is mandatory since you signed, or if you say, since you say that you can attend these classes, because although it is a virtual university, or this is a virtual major, you have the responsibility of attending the virtual classes. They are going to be the 20% of the final grade, so that's the weight of this attendance. Every single class that you enter, it is going to be, there is going to be a grade on your grade book. Usually it's going to be a 5 if you enter. But participation is also something that you must consider. Okay, I am not going to pay to give you points for participation, but as it is an English class, I will ask you to do it. If you have an absence in a class and you want to recover that absence in a certain way, because you know you cannot, okay, you can recover that, you have to justify the absence. They cannot be because of laboral reasons, or unless those laboral reasons are extraordinary, okay? And it is a regulation that we have in the program, so we have to take into account that. If you miss one class and you have a justification for that, you send me a mail or send me a message telling me what happened, and we can I can tell you what you have to do in order to recover that grade, okay, for the absence. The other thing that is important for me is the study guide. I know that you have done it because you have started the first activity, but we have to read the study guide beforehand and try to be careful with instructions. The instructions, I try to write the instructions very carefully in order to guide you in the process. And also you have to pay attention to the deadlines, right? For example, the deadline for the first activity that it is a post in a virtual forum was yesterday, or today. Yes, I think that it is today. Okay, that was the deadline, so it is something that you have to be careful. If you don't have any excuse because of the delay, I don't have any other way to say this, but you are going to have a 0. Okay, so try to send these tasks on time. If you saw the tasks, they are not that often. Okay, they are not that often. It is maybe 1 per week, so they are not that much. Yeah. So, any question, any comment, any complaint at this point?
No, sir.
Not at all.
No,
No question.
it's clear.
No question, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, so everybody agrees.
Yeah.
Okay. The recording of the sessions are going to be uploaded and I'm going to post the link every single Monday, I think. It will be Monday or Tuesday. And you can enter anytime to check the class, okay, as well. So we are going to start with our class. This is a class of theoretical linguistics, but I would like to start with something that it is very important. And I would like to start discussing about this question. What is linguistics? Because we are going to talk about linguistics from the theoretical aspect. So, but what is linguistics? Do you have a definition for that?
It's like the structure of English language or any language.
A structure.
This is what, like, no?
Okay, good. Any other definition?
I would say the study of that structure or of that language.
Okay, a study. Okay. Any other thing to say about linguistics? So Maria Fernanda study, structure, Jorge, sorry?
I teacher and study of language and its structure include the study of morphology, syntax, phonics,
phonetics.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, but in general terms, what we do in linguistics is to study the language, as you know. But we have different branches. So that's something that we have to be clear about. Linguistics is a whole thing that covers language in general, but linguistics has some branches. And those branches are the ones that Patricia called. So they are morphology, syntax, phonetics, phonology, pragmatics, semantics. But those branches that I am telling you are part of the theoretical linguistics. And the theoretical linguistics are called this way because they are based on theories, right? Studies that let us to know some rules and some patterns about these aspects, right? So this is the theoretical linguistics. But the linguistics also can be applied linguistics. And when we say applied linguistics is when the linguistic aspect, the theoretical linguistics, is studied in real settings from different sciences, right? So in applied linguistics, we have other sciences connected to this, like psychology, and then we have psycholinguistics, sociology, and then we have sociolinguistics. We can have discourse studies. We can have other kind of, I don't remember very well today, other branches of this applied linguistics, but applied linguistics could be connected with any social science in this case. But we are going to focus only on the theoretical linguistics. Okay? Yes?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, I thought that someone had a question or something. Okay, I mean, good evening. Okay, so here we have the first sentence, and I would like you to read it. Knowing a language versus knowing what a language is. Do you understand what it means? What is the implication of this?
I may try.
Okay.
May I?
Okay.
Well, knowing a language, I would relate that to a native speaker, for example, who would know how to speak the language, but not necessarily know the rules of the language, which would be the other side, knowing what language is, the structure and why the structure is that way. That's what would come to my mind.
Okay, very good, Maria Fernanda, yes? Okay.
Yes, so, Maria Fernanda.
Yeah, very good. But I will add not only native speakers, because I suppose, for example, Christian, you live in the States, right?
Yes, sir, for a long time.
How long?
For more than 20 years.
For more than 20 years. Are you a native speaker?
I don't know. You tell me. I don't know.
No, I don't know. You tell me. Okay, a native speaker is a person who grows up and learns and acquires this language, right? But sometimes we are not native speaker as such. Okay, understood in the strict term of the native. However, we can say that if we spend a lot of time in that country, we could know the language, right? But maybe we don't know what the language is or how the language works. So that's the difference between knowing a language and knowing what language is, right? So maybe people, native speakers, as Maria Fernanda says, they can know the language, but they don't know how the language works. They just use the language because they know. Yeah, Christian?
For example, Jairo, I know a lot of native speakers that don't know how to teach a class.
Yeah.
But they have a great, how do you say that? Speaking skills, but
proficiency in English.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And even there are other people who are not native, but they are very proficient in English and they don't know how to explain some aspects of the language, right?
Exactly.
So it is common. But in our case, as we are going to be English language teachers, we need to know both. Know the language and know what language is and how language works. So that's very important for us. So let's continue. So the second line says, linguistics is not the study of languages. It is the study of language. And in this case, we have to use our Maria Fernanda, I'm going to close your microphone. Could you please close your microphone, Maria Fernanda? Thank you very much. Because there is an echo. Okay, we have to use, if you want, you can translate it to understand it better. Because in English there is not a huge difference between language and language. Right? In this case, the first language is, what do you think it means?
What people study? Spanish, Korean, whatever.
There we go.
Yeah, about idioms.
Idioms are different, okay?
It's different, yeah.
Idioms is a different word. Idiom is an expression. So you.
No, but I didn't say about idiom speech. I was in Spanish we say idioms.
Idioma.
Yeah.
No, but no idiom. Okay. But yes, you are right.
Yeah,
and
but
here,
the first sentence is about that. It's about Spanish, English, French, and things like that. And the second one is about the.
About them. About the.
Teacher.
Hello. Yes. Hello.
So what is the difference between language and idiom specifically?
Idiom is an expression. It's a colloquial expression or something that.
Yeah, for example, when you say in Spanish ni raja ni presta el hacha, in English you can say fish or could be. Is the same.
That's an idiom. It has an implication.
Idiom speech.
Right. But a language is a system of each one of the languages that we have. Right? But in the case of it is the study of language, we are talking about the faculty of language. Okay? Do you remember when we studied, some of you, we studied Estudios del Lenguaje, we saw something about language. And we know what language a language is. Right? Yeah, the difficulty in English is that we don't have any difference between lenguaje, lengua, idioma. It is the same in English, language. Okay? The third thing here, the main goal of linguistics is to understand the nature of human language. So that's the point here. We are going to understand through linguistics the nature of human language. And this nature has different angles. For that reason, there are several fields in the linguistic or branches in linguistic studies, right? So that's what we are going to do. As we studied last semester with some of you in Estudios del Lenguaje, we saw that languages have 6 traits in common. First, language is used to communicate. Language is composed of arbitrary signs. Remember that arbitrary property of language, that there is not a direct relationship between the thing that we are mentioning and the meaning of the word. Okay, there is not a correlation. Language is hierarchically organized, and this is something that we are going to discuss in a moment. Humans produce and perceive language using auditory, visual, and every tactile modalities, and even tactile modalities. Language is unique for humans, and humans are genetically endowed for language. So this is what we are going to start seeing in a moment, okay? So first, let's continue with this. Language is used to communicate, right? Language is used to communicate concepts and intentions, and this is the thing that we do. Language is not just a system of speaking, but language is even more complex, right? To do this communication, or to have this communication, we use signs. That's something that we have to take into account, and those signs have a meaning. They are assigned a meaning. The study of the meaning of the signs belongs to the pragmatics and the semantics, especially to the semantics, that it is the issue for theoretical linguistics too, right? And in this case, when we use those signs, we intend to use them in order to communicate the message from one person to another. And this is basically what we do, and that's basically what why we say that language is used to communicate. Here there is a definition of a sign. A sign is a discrete unit of meaning. A convention is a set of agreed upon norms. A conventional sign is one that all members of language community agree to use with a certain meaning. So in here, what we have, or what we use in the languages, are conventional signs, because we agreed on assigned a word to certain objects, also to certain entities, to give a meaning. Okay, to give them a meaning. For example, in the case of computer, we agreed in Spanish to call them computador, or to call them in English computer, or if it is a portable one, laptop. So we agreed on that, and we agreed on the meaning as well. So if we say computador or computer and laptop, we understand the difference. Although the use is the same, they are two different things. Because conventionally, we agreed on that, and we know the meaning of that, right? So that's why all the signs are conventional. Let's continue. But these signs doesn't have a relation with the meaning itself. For that reason, the signs are arbitrary, right? So, for example, here we have to describe the domesticated carnivorous canine mammal value its companionship and ability to guard, guide, hold, herd, hunt, search, track, or rescue individual languages use different words. So here we have the definition of the word. We describe a domesticated carnivorous canine mammal, and we know what a mammal is, right? But in English, we use dog, in French, chien, in Icelandic, hundur, in Japanese, unu, in Mandarin, wu, in Spanish, perro, and in Swahili, mbwa, right? But no one of these words have an intrinsic relation with the animal. The word is not describing directly any characteristic of the animal, or even the animal itself, because it is arbitrary. Yeah, is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we studied this in Spanish last semester as well. Right, so there is not any intrinsic. The more direct relationship that happens uh, in this aspect with the signs are the ones that we call onomatopoeias, that it is a representation of a sound with the word, right? For example, the sound that the dog produces, that is a bark in English or a wow in Spanish, right? This is an onomatopoeia and it is closest to what it is representing, but the rest are very arbitrary. This is very important about the language because as it is hierarchically organized, we can study also the language hierarchically. And as we are going to deal with phonetics, with syntax, and with morphology, we can analyze that these branches are also organized hierarchically. They are organized hierarchically, okay? They are assembled according to certain rules. Language, the complete system, is assembled with rules of grammar. But the little units are assembled with particularly orders or particularly rules, right? So grammar is not the whole. And about grammar, I think that for some of you, I assigned a question in the forum. What is the difference between grammar, or what is grammar for you? Basically, right? So please go to the forum. If you find this question, try to answer the question, because sometimes we confuse grammar with linguistics. Grammar is not the whole linguistics, okay? Or we confuse grammar with syntax, and it is not the same. So we have to make the distinction between grammar and the other branches of the linguistics, okay? Right, let's continue. It is not that. Okay, so linguistics analyzes different units of language. They arrange it from the smaller to the larger. So, example, in phonetics, the smallest are the sounds. These sounds are represented by some symbols, and those symbols are called phonemes. So a phoneme is a representation of a sound. A phoneme is not a sound, okay? It cannot be. A phoneme is a representation of a sound. And we can divide the sounds into two groups, the consonant and the vowels. This happens in the case of phonetics. So the smallest unit is the sound. So for example, we have here P, A, that it is this three different phonemes. This is representation of P, T, A, right? So this is the smallest one. So if we joined 2 or 3 or more of these smallest sounds, we got the syllable, right? So we have pot, top, apt, in the combination of the 3 ones that we have in the first sample. Pot, top, apt, right? And if we combine these syllables, we can have words. So in the words, we have mother, baby, promotion. And as many words as you know, this is the combination. So for that reason, we can say that it is hierarchically, right? In the studies of phonetics, for example, what we study or what we focus are on the sounds, the syllables, the words, and then the phrases, okay? Because there are implications in all of them. When we study other kind of things, the final is the sentence. Before the phrase, after the phrase, we have the sentence. When we study from the other perspective, that it is syntax, we study from words, that it is the minimum, the smallest one, then the phrases, and then the sentences, right? And if we studied the morphology, we start from the morpheme, and then the word, right? So there is a category, a hierarchically analysis there as well. Yep. Okay. So the final one is a group of sentences that could be considered like a discourse or like a text. So this is the final one. So far, any question? Because this is just an introduction. No questions. Okay, good.
No question, teacher.
Okay, thank you for saying it. Okay. Let me see. There is a message here. Okay, that's clear. Okay, language is produced and perceived. Language is produced and perceived. So you know that we have the faculty, and we studied that also in linguistics, when we have the production skills. That means that we can speak and produce the sounds, and with the sounds we produce words, and with the words we produce sentences, and with the sentences we produce texts, and with the texts we produce discourses. So that's the production. But on the other hand, we have the perception that with those words, sentences, phrases, words, phrases, sentences, texts, discourses, we have the ability of perceiving. So in that case, the relation is speaking, listening. But it could be written as well. So the production is written, a writing, and the perception is reading. So those are the two angles of this language: production and perception. I mean, you cannot say idioms, languages. And yes, the general rules works for all the languages. At least the languages that I know. Okay, maybe there are other languages that can be used in a different way, but generally we use words, sentences, and texts, right? Right. In the case of what we are going to study, we have to understand the production and the perception, both, right? From the phonetics and phonology aspect, we study the production and the perception. And from the syntax, we also produce production and perception. We study both, right? It's because a language has both angles. Let's continue. Okay, and this is the one of the most important aspects, and it is the language belongs only to humans. Although there are many scientists that say that animals can communicate, in a certain way, but they are not conscious about the language. We are the only species that are conscious about the language, or about how language works, or how we use the language, right? We are conscious about that. So the level of consciousness made us unique in this sense, right? So we are the ones who can, for example, reply certain questions, or think about alternatives of saying something, right? Animals don't do that. Language adapts to the needs of the language community. Language is interactive, so you can say something and you can receive. Language changes constantly, and this is very important, because you know that language is not static. Any language is static. Spanish is alive, English is alive, and you know that, okay? With the pass of the time, language can produce more words, more ways of saying something, and it affects also communication, right? Yeah, with the use of new technologies, the last 20 years, it has been an effect, the change in the language, in the way that we communicate, right? Okay, so language is genetic, but I think that it doesn't it doesn't have many relevance, unless the part that says that language doesn't depend on intelligence. Okay, language is not connected with the intelligence that we have. Every single human being can communicate. Even language doesn't depend also in the senses, right? Because you know that if you are deaf, you can communicate. If you are blind, you are communicate. If you are deaf and blind, you can communicate, right? So people who are deaf and blind can communicate as well, and there is a language for that. So it demonstrates that language is genetic, and the language belongs to human beings as well. Okay. Okay, so the building blocks of language. So in here, what we are going to see is how we are going to construct some things. So let's start with this. Building sounds, phonetics. Phoneticians study speech sounds by looking at, first, speech production. So there is an articulatory phonetics. This is one of the branches of phonetics. Phonetics is the study of speech sounds, remember that. But when we are studying the production, because remember that we have the production and the perception, when we study the production of those phonetics, we are talking about articulatory phonetics. And what the articulatory phonetics does is describe how each one of the sounds is produced in that language, right? Questions?
No question, teacher.
Sure? Okay, so we have here the first one, phonetics, articulatory phonetics. Let's see. Right. The second one, the phoneticians study the sound waves, right? You know that when you say something, or when someone says something, there is a vibration of the waves in the air, right? And it could be recorded. Sorry?
I was going to say that's when your vocal cords vibrate, because there's some sounds that are voiced and some that are voiceless, right?
Not exactly. What you are saying belongs to the production.
Okay.
It belongs to the production. But when we say the sound waves, the sound is already produced. Even if it is voiceless, for example, the T is voiceless. Tomato. The T has a vibration in the air, and the vibration can be graphicked. And I am sure that you have seen the graphics of the vibration of the sounds, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, like a spectrogram, that it is like the representation of the sounds. That is the representation of the sound waves. And that's what the acoustic phonetics does. The acoustic phonetics studies that sound, that vibration, that production. Maybe you have tried some programs in which you have to repeat and your voice is recorded with the spectrogram. And if you don't fill up the range of the waves, you don't pass. Maybe, I don't know if you have used this program, but there are some programs like that. Yep. And what they do is they study the range, and they analyze the production based on the phonetic acoustics on that spectrum. Okay. This is the second part of the phonetics. And the third part has to do with the perception. We have the production in here, the waves in here, and then the perception. So the phoneticians who they devoted to study the perception, they studied the perceptual acoustics. So it is the acoustic phonetics. They study that. So they analyze what you do, how you perceive the sounds, how the sounds arrive to the ear, because there is a connection between the ear and the brain, and that's what they study, that connection here, right? The articulatory, the connection between this and the production, and the other only the voice, the waves, sorry. So there are the three branches. in our class, we are not going to spend time analyzing sound waves. So we are not going to study acoustic phonetics. And we are going to focus only on articulatory phonetics. So we are going to analyze how the production of the sounds are, right? How each sound is produced.
So I have a question. So as you know, we all have different accents. You see, we could be speaking English all in this course, but we all have different accents. Yeah. Does it have to do with how we move our mouth and the tongue and the lips with the way we sound?
If you are talking about accent, it has to do. In a certain way, it has to do with the production. Yes, if you are talking about accents, like the British one and the accents that are in Britain, for example, the different accents in Britain, or the different accents that are in the States.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, for example, in this class, yeah, we all speak Spanish. We're from Colombia.
Yep.
Yeah, and we all sound different. Yeah.
Yep.
So does it have to do with speech production? Like,
yep.
So is there a way we can train ourselves to sound kind of the same, or how? Because I mean, you want the kids when you teach them to sound as natural as possible.
No? Yeah, I know. I have my issues about that, but okay, there is a way. There is a way, and it is called training. So you have to train.
Okay.
But with that training, before the training, you need to know how each one of the sounds is articulated correctly, and then you have to practice, right? But for me, I'm going to be honest, for me, it is useless, because anyway, we are going to be understood with our
that's
English.
Right. That's why I agree with that, because it doesn't matter how you talk, as long as the other person understands what you're saying. I think that's the main objective. But yeah.
Yeah, and this reminds me that I don't. Okay, I am not going to evaluate your pronunciation. This is not a class of pronunciation. Okay, I am going to evaluate the ability that you have to analyze the production of speech. Okay, this is different. So knowing the articulatory phonetics, you are going to be able to know how the production is done and analyze it. But I'm not going to evaluate your pronunciation. You can practice your pronunciation, and it can contribute to your pronunciation if you train. But we don't have time here, right?
No problem. Thanks so much.
Okay, right. Don't worry. Thank you for the question. Okay, let's continue. Okay. We have here these ones. Phoneticians use techniques that include phonetic transcription, computer analysis, ultrasound, functional magnetic resonance, and EEG. That we only care the phonetic transcription. Okay? So by the end of this class, one of the things that you are going to do, or are going to be able to, is to transcribe a little piece. Okay, to be able to transcribe and to be able to read the transcriptions. This is my goal. Okay, and this is something that I would like you to do. Yeah, so let's see.
When you transcribe, like transcription, your pronunciation improves a lot, right?
Yeah, because your awareness about the production increases as well.
Exactly, yeah.
So, for that reason I tell you, I'm not going to teach you pronunciation. Not teach you pronunciation, not teach you, no evaluate the pronunciation. I'm not going to evaluate the pronunciation. I'm going to help you to be more aware about the production of the sounds.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And yes, I agree. If you continue with this phonetic transcription and reading the transcription constantly and paying attention to the signs, to the phonemes, and try to articulate those phonemes in the correct way, your pronunciation improves a lot.
100%, yeah. I've seen it, yeah.
Yes, actually I have seen it as well. I teach phonetics at Universidad Distrital, but this is the whole course on phonetics, and they improved at the end of the class.
Yeah,
and I don't focus on pronunciation either. Okay? Okay, thank you, Christian, for your question. So, the other aspect that we are going to focus on is this one, morphology. Yeah? So, morphology is the study of the origin of the words itself. So, we are going to pay attention to how each one of the words have parts or can be constituted by different parts, and how those parts put in together can be elaborated, or can construct other kind of words, right? So here there is a definition. A word is a freestanding unit of meaning, and a morpheme is single unit of meaning. That's a morpheme, right? So for example, we have this word building, but a morpheme in here is build, because build has its own meaning, right? And ing is something that we call here like a suffix, right? That adds another meaning, another intention to the word, another category, and that's what we are going to study. How these words can change, how those words can vary, okay?
It changes the meaning completely.
Sometimes. Okay. So that's what we are going to see. Yes, right. That could change the meaning.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yep.
Okay, I have been understanding everything, but I want you to clarify to me what is the difference between phoneme and morpheme?
A phoneme is the representation of the sound. A sound. For example, we have the example in here. Where is the example? Oh my God. I lost my example.
There, you passed it.
Yes, I passed it.
The phonetic sound that you put between slash.
Yeah, exactly. These ones.
There, yeah.
Read this one. This is a representation of a sound, right? Yes. The problem is that some representation of the sound is the same letter sometimes. But in this example here, this is a representation of a sound that is a. Yeah, that's a phoneme. But the morpheme is a part of a word, or admin is a word itself. It's a unit. Yeah. For example, this one word is a morpheme. This word, because the complete unit of letters here make us a word that has a meaning, a certain meaning. Yep.
Can you say it's like a part of a speech? Like a noun, verb, adjective,
no,
whatever. No, that's totally different.
Could be. Okay. Yes, and we are going to see that it is connected with that. Yes, it is connected with that. But the parts of the speech belongs to syntax. Okay, right. So remember, we are building up. So the smallest one is the sound, and now we have the words, and the study of the words belongs to the morphology. So what we are going to study here is the word. Yes, the categories of the parts of a speech also influences in here, is part of the morpheme, of the morphology.
So phoneme is always a representation
of a sound.
Of a sound, yeah, a phoneme. Always is between the slashes.
Slashes, right. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Little by little, we are going to see more about that. This is like a general panorama of what we are going to study. So here, every word has at least one morpheme. Okay? Every word has at least one morpheme. For example, one has only one morpheme. In this case, words, it has two morphemes. Word and S. Words.
Singular and plural.
Sorry?
Singular and plural?
The morphemes could add a plural, right? Okay. And that's called the suffixes, right? Or here, morphology has different morphemes. Morpho and logy. right?
Teacher.
Yep.
Teacher.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Kind of.
The example you just gave with words being word, one morpheme, and then you mentioned S or just words.
Yeah.
So it's word and words.
Yes. They are two different entities.
Exactly.
Because they have two different implications, right? Here.
And they have to have a meaning.
Yeah. And the meaning changes. Sometimes could be the meaning or could be other aspects of the word. Okay? In here, some words have more than one morpheme. For example, the words cats, walked, and tallest each contain 2 units of meaning. Cats is cat plus the plural suffix s. So is what I have explained. Words, cat, cats. The first morpheme is cat, and the second morpheme is the suffix x, s. Okay? Walked it happened the same. Walk and ed, the suffix of the past tense ed. And tallest it happens the same here. Tall plus the superlative suffix est. So we have 2 morphemes. So what we do here is analyzing how we are going to build up those different words with different suffixes, prefixes, morphemes, and put them all together, right? This is the study of morphology, right? How everything changes. And also we are going to see that there are 2 phenomena in here. Derivation and I forgot the other name. Sorry, but we are going to study that later. Okay, not today, but later on in this morphology. I forgot the other name. Inflection and derivation. Okay, that is what happens in morphology. Yep. Here, the goal of morphology is to find minimal units of meaning, morphemes, and to understand how these units combine with others. Okay, with other morphemes. That's the point in morphology. So that's what we are going to focus. And the other part of building here, we continue. All languages distinguish 2 basic types of morphemes that are the free morphemes and the bound morphemes. There are 2 different kinds of morphemes. The free morpheme is that morpheme that has a meaning by itself. If it is in isolation, you can understand the meaning. So we have cat, walk, and tall. Yeah?
No, it's just like the word building, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. But the first part that has a meaning itself is called free. And the second part that doesn't have a meaning, for example, the S, the ED, or the EST, are called bound. Bound morpheme. They don't have a meaning by itself.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't understand anything with est. Okay? But together we can build up. So we have the free and the bound morphemes. Those are 2 categories of morphemes. Let's see. Oh. I don't know what happens. Let me see here. Wait up. Sorry. Wait a moment. Monica. Who is Monica? Luisa. Luisa. Who is yes, Luisa. Who is Monica? I don't remember Monica.
Teacher Monica Pineda.
Yes. Monica Pineda del Rio, something like that?
Yes.
Okay, right. But I don't know. I don't know how to help you. She cannot enter?
No, teacher. She's trying to enter, but the platform doesn't.
I know why, maybe. It's my mistake. I think. The thing is that I programmed this class 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour. Okay.
And it is 9 now, so maybe that's why the access is closed.
Okay, teacher.
Maybe that's the reason.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so tell her, please tell her that she can watch the rest of the class. We are going to finish in a moment. Okay.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, so we have here all about the morphemes, and then we have the other category. So as we have the sounds, the words, now we have the sentences. And the sentences are an issue of syntax. Syntax studied the creation of that rules that organize the sentences. But remember, this is different from grammar. Okay?
Okay. So it could be like structure or?
Exactly. It has to do with the structure, right? And we are going to see in another class maybe that a sentence can be syntactically correct, but grammatically incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay, got it.
Okay, right. So linguistics call the set of rules of patterns for combining word syntax. People who study syntax are syntacticians, okay? And they study the patterns of the sentence at the creation of the sentence. So we analyze here the relationship between one word and the other word in a sentence, and how those words can be together in order to construct or build up sentences, complex sentences, simple and complex sentences. Syntactic analysis involves more than just listing the sentence of a language. Syntacticians aim to understand the types of sentences that are possible in each language in order to make a generalization about how words combine to form sentences. So in this case, the three aspects or the three branches of linguistics, phonetics, morphology, and syntax, what they are doing is looking for rules, right? And what we are going to study are rules. Rules that phoneticians, syntheticians, and people who study morphology, I don't know how to call them, they build up those kind of rules, okay? Right, so this is the thing about syntax, and I think that this is the end. In the syntax, what we study is the parts of a speech. Yes, the nouns, the verbs,
adjectives, prepositions.
Exactly, and how they are connected among each other, and how they can construct phrases, and the phrases are part of sentences and they work together, and the relationship between one sentence or the phrases or the words between the sentence itself. Okay? Okay? Any questions so far? Too much information?
It's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be fun. The thing is that it is going to, yes, and the thing is that it has to be in a rush because we only have 6 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, 8 weeks, sorry. Exactly. We have only 8 weeks, right? For the reason I tried to start last week. So in that sense, let me see. And I'm going to use this thing here. I'm going to go to the cars. To the classroom here. And open here the presentation.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you share the presentation?
No.
The platform? What?
No, I'm lying. Yes, of course, I am going to do it. Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sharing here. Okay, this is the general program of the class and the activities that we have here, right? So as you know, the first part is this topic forum, the importance of theoretical linguistics, and we started with this one. But this forum has three parts, we can say this. The first one, and maybe this was one of the things that you didn't do, is just one post, only one. Your answer to the question about the importance of theoretical linguistics according to your experience or from your perspective. Only this. Some of you replied, it is good, but it was not part of the exercise yet. Okay, but doesn't matter. The other thing has to do with the activity 1.2, that it is theoretical linguistics and introduction, that it is like a unit in which you are going to study some of the things that I explained here in general terms.
And there's like a test at the end, no?
Exactly. There is a test because there is
I got scared and I turned it off.
Yeah. Don't do it because you have some chances. I mean, I'm going to answer that question after you analyze. Let's say, let's that question to be solved next class. I mean, was asking about the difference between grammar and syntax. Okay, so let's ask that. Let's answer that question next class. Remind me, please, about that question. Then, when you studied this and with these classes that we have had here, you can do the point 1.3, that it is the mind map. Yeah, because you know how the theoretical linguistics works and you can organize your ideas. But remember, a mind map is not the same a concept map. Okay?
Teacher,
Yes, Ivan?
that text or work is in group, but how many people?
It could be 2 or 3, no more than 3.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Please try not to work with more than 2 other people. Just group of 3 people when the activity is in group. Okay? But remember, this is a mind map different from the concept map. Concept map is like a hierarchy, organization of words and whatever, but a mind map has to be more creative, using graphics.
The mind map has like pictures?
Yes, and a mind map is also called mind map because it is like a representation of what happens in the brain with the synapses, right? That an idea starts spreading, and this idea continues spreading here, and the other idea is spreading and spreading and spreading, right? So it's like a connection of ideas, connection of things that can guide you in this understanding of the issue. If you want, there are some programs on the internet that can help you to elaborate the mind map. Okay, the only thing is that you need to have clear the concepts, the pictures, how you're going to organize the mind map, but the creation of the mind map, you can do it online with some programs, with some pages. I don't know the name of the pages, but some of my students have done it with those pages.
Map tools.
Map tools.
No, map tools is for conceptual maps.
Ah, okay. Oh my God.
That's different. Okay, you look for on Google. You Google it, maybe mind map developers or creation or something like that, and you can enter and develop those.
You have to ask your friend Google.
Yeah, it's a very good friend and very useful sometimes. Right. So just once you finish this mind map, because you have a better approximation of what theoretical linguistics is, you can answer again. You enter to the forum and reply again. That's why it has another deadline here, that it is the 22nd.
And we replied to the same question, right?
The same question, exactly.
Okay.
After you have studied, because the previous one was okay, just from what you know.
From the top of our heads, yeah.
Exactly.
That's correct. Okay.
And then you reply to your classmates. Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, good. So this is the activity for this one, and then on February the 18th, I suppose it is next week. I was thinking about this presentation. I don't know if we have time. Okay, so I let you know because you are too many. This semester you are too many. You are more or less 19. So 19 in 1 hour is going to be very heavy. Sorry?
It's a whole classroom.
Yes, it's a whole classroom. and virtually is a little heavy, right? So I don't know. Let me see. It must be for next week. We are not going to do the presentations, only the mind map.
All right, perfect.
Okay. And then we discuss next class something about the mind maps, but not the presentations, because we are going to spend a lot of time with that. And I don't think it is very useful. Right. So the second unit, we have some lessons, and they are very similar to the first lesson here, the lesson in unit number 1.2, right? The elaboration of those lessons must be progressively, but remember that you have to finish it with a kind of evaluation at the end. Yes, Maria Fernanda?
I have a question.
Ask.
About the first evaluation about concepts under the activity 1.2.
Yeah.
I saw in the platform like the material for theoretical linguistics and introduction. Is that what we need to study, and at the end there's the evaluation, or where do I find that evaluation?
No, the evaluation is in the same. Let me do it here. If we enter here, units, unit number 1. This activity 1.2, it contains the theory, so you can read, and then if you pass, you are going to find some questions. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So the evaluation is in here, in the same activity. So you read about the activity, and then you answer about the activity as well. Okay?
Fine, thanks.
1.2. Right? Any other question?
Teacher, excuse me, so sorry, because I know that that is for the 17th, but the mind map is for the same 17th?
Yeah, the thing is that, let me think. Okay, we can negotiate this. You can upload the mind map by the 22nd. Okay, so I can give you a little more time in order you to organize and everything, in case that you have difficulties get in contact with your group. So let us present that mind map this 22nd. As we are not going to have any presentation, I don't have any problem. Okay, I thought on the 17th because of the presentation, but if we are not going to do it, there is not any problem.
Okay, we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that you have to tell me, okay? And actually, we are going to do it right now, because I have a very, very bad memory.
Let's change it now.
Yes, so I'm going to change the deadline, not on the paper, but on the activity. The deadline of the activity. It is due 22nd, right? And 22nd. Ready. So remember that you have to check this progress bar as well. If you check the progress bar, it's going to tell you what kind of activities you have to do. Yep.
Teacher.
Yep.
I have a question. In the study guide, you post with some links.
Some links.
But yes, teacher. But I tried to introduce it, and this don't
work?
serve.
Okay.
Don't let me. One link is in Arabic. It's so rare.
Let me check. I'm going to try to check it. I'm going to check them again, and if they are broken, I'm going to change them. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Okay. Right. There was one question in the message related to the supporting materials and what you need to read. Let me say that the supporting material is this one. Okay, supporting material. I am not asking you to read lots of information about this, just to try to follow the flow of the class in order to learn some aspects. But if you want to analyze in a deeper way the material, you can do it, right? In cases that I need you to read something, I let you know what pages exactly you have to read, right? Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, sir.
Teacher,
Okay, any other
teacher,
question?
teacher,
Yes.
but with all the respect, I think that you had to put that pages without a question of without question of us, you know, because the in the first time I have to ask you, hey, the PDF have hundreds of pages. What had to read, and you say, okay, read this, but we don't have in my case I don't have time, you know, and so I have to wait to your answer, and I connected to the platform at one time, and I would like that at that time I have the information and take my time to that information and not wait to another information. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
just one. I don't know how to say that.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you something. If you read the first activity here, the first part of the activity says before reading the chapters for this unit, before reading anything. So it is supposed that the first week you didn't have to read anything. And it is in the guide.
Yeah, but about the second week didn't say anything about that.
The second one, the second activity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say the pages? No, I have to ask you. So
Yeah, but you
it's
don't need
about,
to. Okay. Yes, I
yeah,
understand.
it's about
Thank you for
time.
your. Yeah.
It's about time.
Yes, I know. But you have to be conscious as well that you are enrolled in a. Okay, that's why I don't ask you to read long pages. But anyway, you need to be conscious that you are enrolled in a professional program, so you have to read anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, for example,
So
in my case, I don't have time to be in front of the computer all the time. So I took the pages and print them. So it's difficult to print a whole book when I don't gonna use it, you know?
yeah, but
So
I didn't ask you to print the whole book.
yeah, but in my case, I don't have the time to be in front of the computer all the time, you know. So I have to go to my job, and and my time I could read something print. So in that case, I have to wait to ask you. That's the point. So I
Okay.
say that because all the cases are different, you know.
Yes, I know. And
So
I understand.
yeah, that's my worry, you know.
Okay, that's good. So for the rest of the units, you don't need to read more than the assignment or the things that I assign. And I'm going to explain that every single class, what you have to read. Okay?
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Comment? No? Okay, guys. So it was good to have you in my class today. I hope to see you next week, right? Remember that you have to finish unit 1.2, this activity, right? If you have questions about something in this activity, please send me a message, and I'm going to reply as soon as I can. Okay? I am trying to reply the same day, but send me a message asking me the specific question you have. Okay?
Perfect.
Okay, guys. So see you next time. See you next Monday.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
sir.
Thank
you. See
Have
you.
a nice week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
See
you
you guys.
all.
Thank you.
See you, teacher.
Bye-bye.
Okay, blessings to you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Luis.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jairos. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. And thank you.
Have a
Thank you,
good night,
teacher.
teacher.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.